Good evening. This meeting is now called to order. This is the Community Development and Urban Planning meeting for Thursday, October 12th, 2023. I am Councilman Yolanda McCoy, 6th District. I am actually replacing Maria Cabrera, who is absent this evening with leave. At this time, I will call the roll for those members of the committee first. Nathan Field,
Present.
Brigida Fields,
Present.
James Fadola. Okay. Shanae Darby,
Here.
Vincent White,
Present.
and President Congo.
Here.
Okay. Thank you. As a friendly reminder, only members of the committee should be making any motions or seconding. We have 3 things on the agenda this evening. We are going to start first with a resolution authorizing the mayor to file a substantial amendment to the city fiscal year 2024, federal fiscal year 2023 annual action plan budget with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to outline the proposed use of unanticipated city fiscal year 2023, federal fiscal year 2022 program income and proposed reallocation of certain funds. That is quite a mouthful. Is there anyone here to speak to that matter? Oh, please, if you wouldn't mind coming up and introducing yourself?
Thank you. My name's Tom Ford. I'm with the Department of Real Estate and Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Thank you. Ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Thank you. Last May, Council adopted the city's 2024 annual action plan. Tonight we're here for a current resolution, or to discuss a current resolution for the mayor to file a substantial amendment. Essentially, the amendment does 2 things. One, it reallocates $705,000 from demolition to property rehabilitation, and it allocates $450,000 of CDBG money to support Newcastle County's Lead and Healthy Homes program. So with the Lead and Healthy Homes investment, this allocation will remediate and improve about 34 units in the city of Wilmington. We just can't move monies like this when it comes to the substantial amendment. We need city council approval. We also have to meet some requirements via HUD. And those requirements are, we had to advertise the substantial amendment in the News Journal, which we did on September 19th, 2023. We held a virtual public meeting on September 27th, 2023, where we had no public comment. We still have the plan available on the city's website. That will be available for comment through October 16th. And our hope is that council will approve the amendment on at the October 19th meeting, and it's our intention to submit the revised plan back to HUD on October 20th. That's really the long and short of the amendment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you,
Councilman
Madam-
Fields.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Paul, thank you so much for explaining that.
Sure.
My question is the 705
Yes.
is for demolition. Is that coming from the Rodney Reservoir?
No, ma'am.
No?
We have funds allocated specifically for demolition. We are going to move those funds as opposed to demolishing those properties. We are going to rehabilitate those properties.
Okay.
So we're just moving the monies over and switching the use of those funds. So it has nothing to do with Rodney.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I just wanted.
Yes.
All right. Yes, Councilman Darby?
Yes, I have a question. I think it's great that you guys are reallocating funds to the Newcastle County lead program. I actually was a beneficiary of it, got lead removed and remediated. Will these funds be specifically just for Wilmington, for the city of Wilmington, or will it go into the whole pot for the whole Newcastle County? Like, how does that work? Are they?
Sure. The specific allocation is just for properties in Wilmington.
Okay.
And it will be for those 34.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else? Okay.
Real
Councilman
quick.
White. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the presentation. The reallotment of funds to Newcastle County for lead abatement. What was the precipitous for that?
So for the lead abatement, that's not a reallocation, that's an allocation of
Okay.
funds. As detailed in the resolution, we had unexpended delivery costs, about $330,000. And then we had recent CDBG property sales, which result in program income, so we can take that income and support the program.
May I follow up?
Yes, please.
How many homes do you think that allocation will serve?
For lead,
Yes.
34.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Did you have another question?
Yes, I do have
Councilwoman
another
Darby.
question. Is this
Sure.
in response to the lead legislation that passed on the state level, or is this like, why did y'all decide to do this?
The county made a request for
Oh.
additional funds.
Okay, good. Just wondering why. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone that's online that actually, any of our councilpersons online that had a question? Okay. Okay, just wanted to be certain. All right, I think I did have a question. So the reduction of the 750,000 from CDBG, and that is for, from demo to, is it going to, 450 of it going to lead abatement? Like, I just want to know,
Sure.
okay.
I think I understand the question. So there are two separate numbers, right? So we had monies allocated for demolition.
Right.
We're moving them over to rehabilitation. The lead monies, that's a completely separate project. And those monies are comprised of unexpected prior year delivery costs that we still have in our coffers, and 120 in the program income.
Okay.
That comes from CDBG property sales.
I had another question. So the 750,000, I'm sorry, the 705,000 is actually going to rehabilitation.
Correct.
And how much more is actually in that pot to rehabilitate? I do imagine that it's going to cost more than 705,000 to rehabilitate. And how many houses are you looking at? Homes?
We're looking at funding of the 705, at least a portion. It's like 6 properties. We have 3 on the east side, and then we have 3 in West Center City that we're looking to rehabilitate with CDBG funds. The initial demolition pot was a little over $1 million, so we're moving 705 of that. We still have properties that need or require demolition, so we had to keep a little in the demolition pot so we could complete those demolition projects.
Right, okay.
I just
Councilwoman
have
Darby?
one more thing.
Sure.
Just for transparency, I know that I have a nonprofit and we were granted a bid to deal with lead in the city of Wilmington. So I don't know if legal is here, if I can vote on this or support it or not, because my nonprofit, by I guess default, will be involved in this in some way. So
Okay, I'm sorry, are you finished? I just wanted to know, you're talking about for the Newcastle County that you may benefit?
yeah, I may
Okay.
benefit it. Yeah, I have a nonprofit and we'll be doing lead stuff around the city.
I understand. We'll definitely keep that in mind.
Okay.
I have one more.
And they are projects that are run through the county, just to be clear.
Yeah, so I got a
Okay.
bid through the county.
Right,
Or, like we
right.
got accepted for a
Okay,
bid to
yeah.
do community outreach on lead.
Okay.
And to find homes and identify them to use this lead money.
Great.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
excited for it,
fantastic, yeah.
but I also know I'm a council person. I gotta
Sure,
be careful
yeah,
how I vote
absolutely.
and be transparent.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Fields.
Yes, I'm sorry. My question to you is, can you give me the addresses of those properties,
Yes,
please? Thank
yes, I will. Thank you.
Oh, you'll send them to me, the addresses for the rehabilitation?
Yeah, sure. I will get you the West Center City addresses and the East Side addresses.
Okay,
I believe it's
thank
6 properties.
Thank you.
Mhm, Sure.
All right, so if there are no other questions, do we have, okay. President Congo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question about the contractors for that are doing the rehabilitation and the lead abatement. Do we know who they are?
No, sir, not at this time. The lead work will be run through the county, so that will go through their
Okay.
bidding process. The CDBG rehabilitation work, those will be publicly bid out by the city. So we haven't gone through that process yet. This is essentially step 1.
Okay, when do we expect to go through that process?
Well, once we get approval to reallocate the funds, we'll start with pre-demolition, or not pre-rehabilitation work, which would be asbestos and lead abatement. We'll prepare the bid package, I'd say within the next 4 to 6 months, hopefully.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. So if there are no other questions, do we have anyone in public comment that wish to speak? Is there anyone?
No hands up.
Okay, good. All right. So, well, this is a resolution, so it does not need to be voted out of the committee, and it looks like it will come to a full council vote on October 19th. Okay?
Thank you very much,
so
sir.
much for
Thank you.
presenting. Okay. All right, so it looks like we do have two presentations. We have a presentation by Mr. James Nixon for the city of Lancaster. Councilman Darby, did you wish to introduce your presenter?
Yes, I met James Nixon through a program called the Landlord Engagement Lab. So the city of Wilmington, we submitted an application and we were selected amongst other cities and counties throughout the country. The city of Wilmington was selected and they worked with us. So we have a team of landlords, property owners, renters, city council members, and community members where we meet like probably every 6 weeks and on a monthly base. The program is over now, so we were meeting on a monthly base with the Landlord Engagement Lab on a national level to talk about and look at and evaluate how the city engages with landlords, specifically small landlords. So we're not talking about the big developers out here, but the small mom and pop landlords who are out here, who's running businesses to provide livable housing for a lot of our constituents. As we know that it's more renters than homeowners here. And then through that process, we learned of some of the great work that was happening in the city of Lancaster. I got connected to James Nixon, learned about how he he went into his L&I department and reformed it, transformed it, right? And was able to do some amazing things in regards to rental inspection, in regards to community engagement. They do block walks, participate in neighborhood. The L&I department does that, right? And they do a lot of education and awareness in the community. They're a city about of similar size to the city of Wilmington. Racial makeup is a little different. However, social economic status is about the same. So I wanted to find a city that was as similar as possible that we can learn from so that we can do better as a city in regards to rental properties in our city and other things within L&I. So I'm going to leave it over for James Nixon.
Well, good evening, Councilwoman Darby. I thank you for the invitation. I thank all that are present for their time. Is everyone able to hear me loud enough? Just want to make sure that I'm able to be heard.
Yes, we're fine, Mr. Nixon.
All right, great. Let's make sure let's get are you able to see the presentation?
I'm sorry. Okay, there we are. We can see the presentation now.
Okay, great. So again, my name is James Nixon. I'm the Bureau Chief of Property Maintenance and Housing Inspections. This is under the Department of Community Planning and Economic Development. The city of Lancaster is made up of 65,000 residents. Of such, 16,000, a little bit over 16,000 are rental properties in the city of Lancaster. We utilize several different public-facing sources to make sure that we're providing landlords and property managers valuable information as well as our tenants. How does Telemate affect the public? Telemate is one of our resources that we utilize, a source called Building Blocks. This provides update information to our partners and residents in the city. It allows us to hold landlords accountable, as well as for the public to hold those landlords accountable. It creates transparency of the work that is conducted within my bureau. My bureau consists of 8 inspectors. I have a clerical staff, building clerk, an admin assistant, as well as a supervisor that manages my inspectors. Those 8 inspectors conduct about 8,000 inspections annually. 4,000 are systematic inspections where we check a fourth of our properties once every 4 years. So over that 4-year time frame, we will have inspected all 16,000 properties in the city. to ensure that the quality standards that we have are upheld. Any violations that occur at the time of those inspections are updated and able to be seen by the public in Building Blocks, which is under Teleme. This allows for residents as well as our partners to be aware of certain concerns as well as certain things that's going on in the city. We utilize a 311 system, which allows for those in the public to take a picture at a certain location, and it will geographically let us know where that location is. They can report the violation, and our inspection team will go out and ensure that that violation is cured within a certain time frame. We typically find that all of our violations are cured in less than a 30-day time frame. Landlords are granted 30 days and as well as a 14-day extension if needed. If the violation is not abated within that 45-day time frame, their license will be revoked, and they will be unable to have a authorized rental at that time until they get into compliance with the city's requirements.
Mr. Nixon, pardon me, may I ask a question real quick?
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask a question before you move forward. The 45-day time frame, you said that if they do not meet that, their license will be revoked. Does that mean for just that particular property or for all properties that they actually have?
So it will be for that specific property that holds the violation.
Okay, thank you. That was it. Please continue.
All right, great. So we have a new way of enforcement. I believe that slide got skipped by. Our new way of enforcement, we educate landlords and property owners. I send out information at the time of systematic inspection as well as posted on our public website, informing landlords of what their roles and responsibilities are to ensure that their properties are upkept in the proper fashion. Yes, that's the correct slide. Thank you. We do community engagement. Every year, on the slide where it says new way of enforcement, we'll stay there right now. We do community engagement every year. We do block walks. We participate in neighborhood organizations. Teleme allows for me to identify a block strength indicator. It tells me areas within our city that has more violations than others. In those areas, we try to get as much attention as possible. We send out information to some of our community partners. They come out with me, and I do a day where I will go out and address any concerns that's in that community. We address housing concerns, but we also address social service concerns. I do have a social services coordinator on my team who aids and supports those residents of any of the social service needs that they may have. I meet with property owners and landlords. I have forums where they are able to come in and meet with me to have a conversation about what my expectations are of maintaining their properties, as well as for them to give me feedback on ways that we can be of improvement to them as a service to make sure that we are working together. We have moved more efficiently in the past year. Our inspections are down by more than 40%. We have improved our consistency across all our inspections. We have an inspection checklist that provides a guidance for our inspectors to follow now. We also do have a collaborative culture. We work with several different departments within the city to ensure that we are all working in a timely fashion to make sure that all needs at a house is taken care of. We have a LED program. We provide CDBG funding for major home repairs. In addition to that, we work with a lot of our partners to make sure that any programs that they have to critical repair or other needs are also addressed and provided to our citizens. These things are also tracked under Teleme to allow the public to understand what's going on and to be aware of all of the necessary steps to find this house in a full rehabilitation state. I'll open up the floor for any questions or concerns.
All right, thank you for your presentation, Mr. Nixon. Well, does any of my council colleagues have any questions? Councilman White?
Madam Chair, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I got just a couple of questions. What's the types of properties located in Lancaster in terms of, well, you know what the question is. What types of properties?
All right. So, of our 16,000 properties, 90% of them are built prior to 1900s. We have a very old housing stock and a very old inventory. We are a very dense city. We're not growing any wider. The only thing that we can do is grow up. So any new buildings that come into the city are going to be more like high-rise buildings. More than 50% of our population is Hispanic. We are a welcoming city, so we have right now we're scheduled to receive 300 refugee families starting in October, ending in October of 2024. So we have a diverse population and a diverse housing stock. Old row houses, brownstones.
Do you know the majority? Is the majority row homes?
Yeah.
And if I just may,
Yes, please follow.
in relationship to row homes versus single families, I'm sorry, detached.
I would say we have probably 40% of our housing stock being detached, probably 30% being row homes, and the others are going to be townhomes and apartment buildings.
And one last question, Madam Chair, if I may.
You may.
You mentioned that your inspections were down 40%. Did I hear that correctly, or did?
Correct. So in previous years, we, prior to my arrival to the city of Lancaster, we were conducting several re-inspections over a 1-year time frame. It may be 5 or 6 re-inspections needed to find the violations cured. Once I started to institute a mandatory time frame that those violations had to be abated and started to hold landlords accountable to have abatement done within 45 days or their license being revoked, we saw a drastic decline in the amount of re-inspections and as well as the amount of time that was needed for properties to be brought up to the city's code standards.
So again, clarity, the 40% reduction is from re-inspections?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. No other questions, Madam Chair, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, Councilman Darby?
Yes, I wanted to ask, well, I probably already know, but how many inspectors do you have, your department?
I have a team of 8 inspectors.
And with the 8 inspectors, you're able to get all of the properties re-inspected within their time frame that you have? And I remember you were explaining, if you can explain, I know, I don't remember, like every 3 years, and then Airbnbs, y'all do once a year, like if you can explain that.
So, we have, as I stated earlier, we have 16,000 rental properties. By city ordinance, we are scheduled to inspect 100% of our rental property inventory over a 4-year time frame. So every year we conduct 4,000 systematic inspections. So I break it down where I have my inspectors conduct between 350 to 425 inspections every month, broken down over the 8 inspectors. In addition to that, they have complaint-based inspections that they respond to, and they have re-inspections. So each inspector at times conducts about 60 to 70 inspections on a monthly basis. That also includes the community engagement that we have. It also includes opportunities for them to go out and do meet and greets, sit with me at forum to make sure that we have provided the correct public education to the landlords and property managers. We do have short-term rentals, Airbnbs, which most are aware of. We conduct those once every year. So every year, a Airbnb must have a scheduled inspection. Currently, we have close to 3,000 Airbnbs that we're inspecting annually.
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that part? How many Airbnbs you do annually?
About 3,000.
Okay, all right, you can follow.
Yeah, so I just wanted to confirm, so y'all guys have 8 inspectors. You're able to, between the time frame for whatever property it is, able to complete all of those within the 4-year time span of making sure everyone gets an inspection.
So we're ahead of the curve with my 8 inspectors. I have them on a 38-month schedule. So we completed prior to that 4-year time frame. I do this so that I can provide a buffer just in case. Again, there's community engagement opportunities. We have critical crises that come up. In the city of Lancaster, my inspectors are the only ones with the authority to condemn or identify a property as blight. So our time we utilize as best as we can to make sure that we're working in an efficient manner. I'm always looking at new ways to make sure that we are working better for our residents. But as of right now, we conduct all 16,000 inspections over a 38-month period.
Okay, perfect. Can I follow up?
Madam,
You got a question?
go ahead,
You
go
good? No, you good.
Okay. All right, Councilwoman Fields.
yes, thank you. Could you tell me what your budget is for your department?
So my department, we generate $1.3 million annually. My operational cost is a little bit under $1.1 million. And that includes salaries, operational costs, vehicles, fringes, and everything that I am solely responsible for.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, do you have any follow-up? Okay, Councilman Darby.
Yes, so I know that you mentioned two systems, Ptolemy, and I want to
Yeah.
confirm that the city of Wilmington has the Ptolemy software already, and to be integrated into any system, we met with the Ptolemy founder who founded the system, the software, and they explained that Ptolemy would have no problem integrating with the systems that L&I has currently so that we're able to do some of this community engagement, the block walks, the education piece. And then the second part to that is that you use another software called Building Blocks, right? And that's your communication that's internal just for landlords, right? From what I remember.
So Teleme is Building Blocks for us. So Building Blocks is that external usage for landlords and partners to be able to go on and identify. They can type in the address, they'll pull up that parcel, and they will be provided all details. So they'll be provided the access of police reports, fire reports, violations, permits, land use, the type of, all details pertaining to that property will be provided by Telemate in Building Block System. That is essentially what that program is built out for us. Telemate does several things for us. They also run my vacant property registry. These are properties that are under foreclosure or vacant and abandoned. We just bought them, added that into our stock where they provide me monthly reports so that we can go out and conduct inspections on vacant and abandoned properties to ensure that they're not a public nuisance to our residents.
All right. And I just have one more thing. I know you have a landlord repair program, and then also you guys deal with lead inspections. If you can
Yes.
talk about those two things, and then I'm done.
All right, so in addition to our systematic inspections, all of my inspectors are lead certified inspectors under EPA. At the time of our systematic inspections, we do conduct a full dust wipe sample and lead hazard evaluation of those properties. If those properties are in compliance with the lead hazard evaluations done by the city, they get a 4-year notice of compliance. If those properties fail at the dust wipe or the visual assessment done by the inspector, they will need to go out and hire a third-party risk assessor, which will come in and conduct a full risk assessment of the property and identify what needs to be done so that the property is brought to the city's lead standards. At that time, they will get a 2-year certification, which means that every 2 years, they will need to maintain that lead certification to stay in compliance under our city's ordinance.
Okay.
The repair program too?
So if the house is identified and needs critical repair, my staff has the ability to refer to a critical repair program, whether it's done by the county or administered under the critical repair program that we have under our CDBG funds with the city. They can utilize our inspection details for their scope of work, and that will provide a guide of what needs to be done so that that property can be brought to code compliance.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nixon. Councilwoman Fields has a question as well. Another.
Yes, my question to you is, are your L&I employees, are they able to go into the house do they have to get the okay from the landlords, or can they just, go in? Like, I just need to know that.
Right. So at the time of inspection, we send out notices to the landlords 45 days prior to their scheduled inspection day. The landlords must be present at the time of the inspection. If they are not present, they must identify a responsible agent or a property manager that is identified in their application that can be present to conduct the inspection with us.
Can I
But,
follow up, Madam?
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, you may. Phil.
They
So-
cannot deny us entry into the property.
Okay. He said that.
Say it again, please. I'm sorry.
They cannot deny us entry into the property. Under city ordinance, if it is a rental, we have jurisdiction to enter into the property.
Ah,
If they deny us entry to the property, our staff has the ability to obtain an administrative warrant that will grant us entry into the property.
Okay, so that's the difference from us and you. Thank you.
okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay. My question is to you, Mr. Nixon, is this is very impressive. The 16,000 and 4,000 per year. How long did it take actually to get to that point? I'd like to know whether or not, when it comes to the rotation, I know like these numbers are phenomenal, but how long did it take you to figure out what the numbers needed to be in order to complete all of your inspections on every 4 years?
So I worked with Teleme to update and prescribe a adequate inspection schedule. It took me about 60 to 90 days of from organizing all of the units that we have to sending out and identifying what the schedule will be over a 38-month period. So about 90 days it took me to organize it and get it done. Again, I had the guidelines of what the ordinance identified is mandatory for us to do as a city. Teleme aided in making sure that I had an accurate number. In years previous, they were looking at about 12,000 rental properties. We soon found out we had about 16,000. And it was, again, by the assistance of Teleme being able to identify those parcels in an accurate amount of units at each parcel.
Okay. So my follow-up is, did you have any issues or incidents as you were trying to reach your 350 to 400 a month? Did you fall short initially?
No, ma'am.
Oh, impressive. I guess,
No,
yeah.
we have the ability to extend more, but we want to make sure that my biggest thing is making sure that we're efficient and that we're thorough. I don't want to try to overdo and burn out my team. My team works very diligent. They're highly educated, highly motivated, and I do my best to make sure that I get the best quality out of them and that we're providing the best quality to our residents.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, thank you. I think that maybe, oh, you know what? I think my other last question is, during your, you realized, you thought you had 12,000, you realized you actually had 16,000 when it came to how many rental properties that you needed. As you were doing your inspections, had you noticed or discovered that you had people who were not actually, they were not registering their rental properties?
I did. So by ordinance, any properties that are being utilized as a rental that do not have a rental license, I will fine them $500 for every month that they are active rental without a rental license. So we've had cases where we won $6,500, $7,000 due to landlords not having the proper licenses or proper registrations with the city.
Okay. Oh, you did? Okay. All right. Councilwoman Phil, she has a question.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of things. My question to you is, I know that you said your rental population are mostly Hispanic. Is it something like that?
No, it said
No.
50 cent. Yeah, 50
Yeah.
cent.
So with that being, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said the population is about 50% Spanish speaking.
Okay, so with that being said, do you get special funding for them? Do you know what I mean? Like when I say special funding, like it could be a grant for, non-speaking individuals, different monies that could go towards their rent or different things like that?
No, ma'am. So, we do not. Our bureau, is one of the rare bureaus. We are, self-sustainable with the amount of, licenses that we produce annually. I do have a CDBG allocation that I utilize for, particular areas that have been identified under CDBG, to make sure that we're doing the right amount of public education, as well as allocating for critical repair and other things that those residents in certain parts of the city do need. All of my documentation is translated into, I believe, 4 languages. We are looking to expand that to about 6 or 8 languages. Right now we have Swahili, Nepali, Spanish, and English.
Thank you.
I do have another question. I just wanted to know how were you, when it comes to unregistered rental properties, how were they identified?
So Telemay allows me to run a report where I can utilize or see any property that does not have, the utilities are not in the landlord's or property owner's name.
Okay.
So
yeah, we
with
do
that, I
have that.
can send out letters informing landlords that they may not be in compliance. At that time, they can send me a designation letter saying that it's not a rental. It has to meet a certain criteria, but oftentimes Telemay in the software allows us to run reports that will identify and help us understand where rentals are and where they may be.
Okay. All right. I thank you so much, Mr. Nixon, for all the information. Do you have another? Okay.
Yeah, just
Councilman Darby.
yeah, just a few more things. So I just wanted you to come, and I want to say thank you for coming because you're doing phenomenal work in Lancaster. We're not exactly alike, but we're similar in some ways. I don't think we're ever going to find a city where everything is the same because I always get the complaint that, oh, you use Philadelphia, it's too large. So I was able to find a city that is similar, that's not too far, right? And there are some differences. But for the most part, this is like, it could be done. It is not a thought way out here, is not radical, that we can have an L&I here in the city of Wilmington doing the great work that you guys are doing. Wilmington can get administrative warrants, right? We can legislate that. Those are things that we can do. So I just want the public to hear that we can reimagine what L&I looks like. And we're not using Ptolemy. We use Ptolemy, but we're not using it in the same way that you guys are using. And the last thing is your rental registry fee for your landlords. I know it's way higher than ours, but I want them to hear how much it is for the rental. But I agree with the price you guys have because you offer so much for your city and for your landlord. But how much is your rental fees?
So a rental license in the city of Lancaster is $250, and that is paid every 2 years. That again, as a city, as a third-class city in the state of Pennsylvania, our fees cannot be charged more than what the cost of the services that we provide are. When we had a third-party analysis come in to review the services that we provide, they gave me a recommended number. That recommended number was way higher than $250, and it was actually an annual number. We looked at what our budget is and what our operation is, and we settled at $250 on a biannual license that would allow for my bureau to run self-sufficiently, but also to make sure that we're providing a high level of service to our residents.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I have to follow that up. So I'd like to know the 250 biannual. Is that how many units is that? Is that just per unit, multiple units? Please tell me how that's divided.
All right. So the $250 is a per unit fee. Please understand that for our larger multifamily parcels, it is capped at a particular amount. So we do have some parcels that are greater than 50 units, and there is a cap for those units. That $250 fee includes the cost of a inspection, the lead hazard evaluation, a second reinspection, and follow-ups as necessary. But if we have to do any subsequent inspections after that first reinspection, there is an additional fee of $125 that is received by the landlord if the violation is not abated within that first prescribed deadline.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us that explanation, Mr. Nixon. Well, I do not have any other questions. Does anyone else? All right. Well, I thank you so much for coming. Well, for being on Zoom and presenting. We definitely you have given us a lot of valuable insight on how things are working in Lancaster.
And please, before I leave, I will say thank you for your time. I encourage you all to continue just to, service our residents as they need us, as we need them. I welcome you that, my office is always open to you all if you ever want to come down to do a shadow day with me and my team. I'm open for that. We have several neighboring cities that have reached out that also want to see some of the work that we're doing, and we'll be coming out this month and next month to kind of see what we're doing and look at some of the best practices that we can collaborate on. So I'll open that same opportunity and invitation for you all. If there's anything that we're doing or that you're doing there that better services the residents, I'm all for it, and I welcome you all to partner in this effort.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Nixon.
Thank you.
All right, so that actually that completed our presentation. Was there anyone in the public comment that had a few words or questions? Did you say somebody had?
They lowered their hand.
Oh, they lowered it, okay. All right, so, thank you again. And Councilman Darby, it seems that we have another presentation. We have a presentation by Mr. Yes. Okay, all right, so she's raised her hand again, okay. So we do have a person with public comment. Please introduce yourself. No, I thought she would introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Christian. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, hi, my name's Christian Willauer. I'm a resident of the city of Wilmington, and I just want to thank Mr. Dixon from Lancaster for coming and making this presentation. And I just had a couple of questions. One was, what do you think the benefit of doing proactive rental inspections has been for your city and also for renters in your city? And two, I wanted to ask a little bit about your checklist that you said you made available. Like, maybe you could share that with us, but do you think it would be possible for you to just give some highlights of what is on that checklist and why you put those things on the checklist? So those are two questions.
Okay. So I'll say, I think I'm sorry. Mr. Nixon actually probably has already departed, but we can forward those questions to him and see and find out what those answers are. Okay. Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make certain that the person who did a public comment, Ms. Willauer, got a chance to finish her comment, and we will make certain that we have already gotten that information down. We will have to contact Mr. Nixon to get those answers. Okay. If there's no one else, all right, yeah, I don't see anyone else. Okay, if there's no one else, then Councilman Darby, you can go ahead with your next presentation.
Yeah, so the next presentation is 1 and 7B. 1 and 7B offers services to people transitioning or who are currently homeless. He offers a mobile hygiene service, which launched earlier this year. He also wraps it around with different services that he'll talk about tonight. I know the city has partnered with you. I have partnered with you to go into the third district, because right there on the line, to provide services on Gordon Street. And then I also know you're over in the 4th district providing services too. But I also wanted the council people to hear more about what you do and like how we can support you.
Sure, great. Well, thank you all so much for having me.
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby, thank you for sponsoring me to come
Yes.
speak.
Please say your name again.
My name is Mark Pewican.
Thank you.
I'm the founder and executive director of the 1 and 7B Foundation. And just what is 1 and 7B? It really, the concept is you're 1 out of 7 billion people on this earth, now 8 billion people on this earth, to make a positive difference. Our 1 and 7B is to bring mobile services to those experiencing homelessness. our mission really is to follow the example, through my faith, reading in the Bible, like Jesus did when he walked this earth, to serve those that are in need. And really our focus is bringing food, hygiene, supplies, services, and clothing, and connection to social services and other organizations that can help folks experiencing homelessness take a step toward recovery. And the goal is, and what we really do, is relationship building. So we're out there week in, week out, really trying to develop relationships. We realize that we're not going to get everyone that we come in contact with to take a step toward getting out of addiction or working toward stability with mental illness. It's that relationship, once it's in place, that folks open up and allow us to help guide them to the next step. And when we go out with state services, so Delaware Health and Social Services. We partner with the Bridge Clinic, the DHSS, CPSU, Friendship House, Horizon House, and others to do this work. So if we could flip to the next slide. Went through that, and then if we could go to the one with what's new at the top. Yep, so that just says that we do have social media out there. You can check out more on what we do week in and week out. Next slide, please. And this is what we're really excited about. This year, we were able to launch this mobile hygiene service. We were founded in 2020 and have been doing outreach since then, but getting feedback from our guests, we learned that hygiene was the need. There were a decent number of organizations providing food and clothing and other services, but hygiene, there just wasn't anything out there from a mobile perspective. So we raised half of the money to have this built and got the other half through a grant and launched it in April. So really excited to do this. Like I said, week in and week out, we're out every Saturday, and the Saturdays are in Wilmington, and then every other Friday in Newark. We hope to expand into the other counties of Delaware, into Chester County, PA, Elkton, Maryland, as well, eventually. Next slide, please. This is just an example of the schedule that we posted for this year, and we give this out to our guests at every outreach event. It just lists our dates and locations, and it has a little message to them, that picture on the right, just to make sure folks know that they're seen. We're just there as providing kind of unconditional services and care to try to create a welcoming environment where we can develop that relationship and hopefully get folks to open up to us. Help, Hope, and Love is kind of our approach. That's on both of our trailers. We have one hygiene trailer. I should have mentioned on the prior slide that it has 3 full bathrooms. One of those is fully handicap accessible with a hydraulic ramp. And then there's a laundry room with 2 washers, 2 dryers that we can do laundry with as well. Next slide, please. This is a little view into what our vision is. Right now, we're kind of in the upper left quadrant there with the mobile outreach. One of the concepts that we're trying to employ are Hope Squads, where a lot of our guests are working with caseworkers with the state and other organizations, but many times those individuals that are with DHSS or other organizations are just swamped, and we see a need for a little additional help where we would assign a small team to one of our guests and help them get over some of the what would seem like smaller roadblocks to us, but they're kind of monumental brick walls for others. Things like getting an ID is one example, having an address where they can get mail and those things. So, we are trying to move toward that model of care, And as I mentioned, we work with numerous organizations to get folks into rehab, crisis intervention, detox, and we do that on site. So we have the ability to connect with organizations that are with us, and if there's an individual that is open to going, they will be taken right from there to a rehab or whatever the next step is for them. So the really exciting thing is that we're starting to get those positive outcomes, and it's few and far between, but that's the goal. So we are starting to see that, which is super encouraging for us. Ultimately, we would like to offer some transitional employment, whether that's working with businesses in the area to connect some of our guests with to earn some money, or also in the lower left corner, our ultimate goal is to really create a community, a physical community where we can have, we want to start with, 10 to 15 micro homes and actually have a community with support services on site. You've all heard of the Hope Center, and they have some support services on site, but we've done some research and shadowing to other organizations across the country that have succeeded at developing small communities with support services. They actually have some transitional employment on site in the form of a car detailing shop or a cleaning company or a landscaping company, where folks can be employed and work and pay initially maybe $250 a month as that intermediate step before being kind of launched back into society full swing, and trying to afford a $1,000 rent payment, where in Delaware, I don't know the latest stats, but I think a year or two ago it was you had to work 2.5 full-time jobs at minimum wage to afford a regular rent payment. So that tended, from what we're seeing, to not be successful, and then folks fall right back into the life that they were in. So we have an eye toward this full spectrum of care. We've got a while to get there. We know that, but we're kind of starting one step at a time with boots on the ground, getting out there every week in Wilmington and Newark. All right, next slide, please. I just put this in there for anybody that comes in contact or knows of businesses, small, medium, large, that would be interested in partnering with us. Just shameless plug. We do apply for grants, and we do get some of those, but we're trying to diversify our funding and have corporate partnerships, not just for monthly monetary funding, but also for volunteers, and for some of our other events that we need resources for. So feel free to share anything about us with folks that you know. Next slide, please. And we're 100% volunteer driven at the moment, and we've got about a core group of about 20 frequent volunteers, but then a total pool of about 150 volunteers that our event signups go out to. So we'll have to run an outreach event with the shower and laundry trailer takes about 8 to 10 people. So making sure that those have volunteers to sign up is crucial to us providing the services. And again, it's 100% volunteer. And we also work with companies to, like I said, from a volunteer perspective, and they'll have like their company volunteer day, and we can train and have folks have their company volunteer day. We typically have a 16-year-old age limit minimum at our outreach events, but we do behind the scenes stuff with others younger to pack hygiene bags, food bags, sort clothes, things like that. So we don't have a home yet. We don't have a building yet. So we're operating out of a storage unit for our clothing bank, and one of our corporate partners is providing office space that we're using for our food bank, our food pantry, and we also keep the shower trailer outside in that parking lot of our one corporate partner. So we're looking for about a 2,500 to 3,500 square foot warehouse space that has a 12-foot roll-up door, because it's a big trailer. It's 11 foot 5 inches, I think, and about 30 foot long. So It's fun to drive, but it takes a lot of space. And we're just looking for a home so that we can not only keep that inside for less wear and tear, but also for volunteers to come on site and do the things that I mentioned, packing bags, sorting clothes, that kind of thing. I think that was the last slide. Flip. Yeah. So I'll be happy to take any questions at this time.
All right. I did have one question. You did mention 8 to 10 volunteers. I just wanted to know, what else did you need in order to set up for an event?
To set up for an event, so typically we'll, in addition to the shower and laundry services, we'll bring a light meal, whether that's breakfast or lunch. So we do have volunteers make sandwiches. Families do that sometimes for us. But in addition to that, it's really just...
You don't need any access to water?
Oh yeah, we do. I'm sorry. And that's where the great partnership with the city came in,
Okay.
because we met with Public Works and Parks and Rec, and they were great. We are able to hook up to hydrants, to fire hydrants, to fill our freshwater tank. And for both locations in Wilmington, we stay hooked up to the fire hydrant. So we had a limitation of 225 gallons of fresh water, and that got us about that max 22, 23 showers, along with associated laundry for whoever of those wanted to do laundry. But now there's no limit. The only limit is time. We're typically out for 3.5 to 4 hours, and serve on average with showers and laundry about 25 of our guests. Yeah, and then we put out hygiene supplies and clothes and food, and there's others that come and take advantage of those services in addition to those that get a shower and do laundry.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? Councilman Fields?
Yes. My question is, I see your schedule, and it's very, it's really long. I do see the Sunday breakfast mission, and you only have it on here one time. Is there a particular reason why?
There was, that was a joint venture with the city, DHSS, the CPSU, Community Partner Support Unit, to bring in us, the Bridge Clinic of Delaware, a few other organizations, the Wilmington Police as well, helping with IDs there. And so that was kind of the trial for that. It was kind of a pop-up care event for our guests. So that was really successful. It was a one-time thing. So I know that the CPSU, DHSS is working with the city to organize a recurring schedule for that type of event, because that was our biggest traffic event as far as number of folks that we served. And it was great because there was an individual with the Bridge Clinic nurses were right next to us. We had a couple of folks taken to get help right to a rehab on site from that site. And then there was 14 that were able to get their IDs, working with the City of Wilmington Police. There were other services as well. There was food, there was music, and it was just a great atmosphere, and people really opened up. There was haircuts as well.
Okay. Even, can I follow up?
Yeah, please.
Even though this was a special event, are you all just working on making it become like a regular
Yes.
spot? You know, without all the bells and whistles, just come, take a shower, wash your clothes, and everything like that.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Great. And who did you say you were in contact with?
So the DHSS CPSU unit, LaDonna Graham. Yeah, and our Christina Park site, I mean, as you probably know, is right around the corner. So a lot of the guests that use our services are familiar with us there too. So,
Right.
yeah.
Was there any other questions? Okay. I actually did have one. So the thing is that I actually have a site that I would love to see you at. I'm not
Okay.
exactly certain how that will work, but Councilman Fields and I, we actually share a border, and we have a lot of people who are homeless who are actually staying underneath the viaducts of the 95. And I would love to be able to see them get, like, we're calling the police department and they're organizing people and resources before they go out. They'll let them know that they're coming out the next day, and then they will come back out with, you know, the resources to try to make sure that they have those things. But at the same time, they're removing all of those, like, they kind of like set up like where they're living at. They're
Right.
removing all that stuff. So I think it would be able to be able to give them an opportunity to get themselves clean, get their things clean before, you know, before they have to move on.
Yeah.
To figure out some things, see whether or not there's any availability to go somewhere else, rather than just, all right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. It's time to get y'all stuff out of here.
Right, right. So that's a transition in and of
Yes,
itself, and to be
yes.
able to take a shower, get their clothes clean,
Yes.
to wherever they're going to be moving on to,
Exactly.
could help. So yeah, I would love to talk about that. We're actually looking for other locations for next year.
Okay.
So right now it's just 3 of us that are driving it. Up until very recently, it was just me. So we're just trying to find more people to drive. We want to get another trailer as well, so that we can expand. But yeah, I would love to talk to you about that. And then you know, we could work with the organizations that we work with anyway that might be able to help.
Okay.
You know, with either placement or you know, next steps for those guests that are kind of having to move from that point.
We will be in touch.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I thank you so much, Mr. Buchanan. I didn't
Sure.
know whether or not we had anyone who was actually on the public who wanted to make any comments or had any questions. Okay. All right. So I do, of course, remember when Councilman Darby actually presented you with a resolution and thanked you for your help. So I already knew about what was going on, but it's actually great that you were able to make this presentation. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So Councilman Darby actually is on, seems like she's on the line. So Councilman Darby, did you have any closing comments? Is she on there?
Hello, y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. No, I just want to say thank you, Mark, for coming. I love the work that you're doing. I'm glad you're able to come to the borderline of Councilmember Oliver's and I's on Gordon Street and provide services. Anything you need for support, reach out to City Council. We would love to have you in every district, right, to be able to provide services. So I think as we're having a conversation about like homelessness, like trying to incorporate you and provide funding, because you need money, because capacity and time is limited and you're going to need to pay people. So just really thinking of those things and how we can support you is what I'll be thinking of over the next year as we enter budget hearing, with my funds that I have, because I think it's just really important work that you're doing. A shower can make a difference in someone's life, and getting a job, and you know, being able to go to school, like those things. So just thank you for the work you're doing. That's it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you for that too. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So is there anyone else? All right. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Darby, for your closing remarks. Thank you so much again, Mr. Is it Pukin?
Pewican.
Pewican. Thank you so
Got it.
much, Mr. Pewican, for coming and presenting. We needed just this much more information about what your actual cause was.
Sure.
Because like I stated, I remember from the resolution, but it's great to get the rest of this information.
Absolutely.
So with that, we thank you, and we will be
Thank you for your time.
I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you had more information from me. Okay, with that, we will be adjourning this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and second. All those in favor, please vote.
Aye.
All right. All right, there's none opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wilmington. See you next month.